Welcome to another Salesforce weekly release in action. This time around it's Spring 18. Let's jump in and have a look. Okay, so here we are in our pre-release org. So personalization was a big theme at Dreamforce this year, as we know. So let's have a look at some of the personalization features that are now available in Spring 18. Okay, so you may notice over here I've got a pencil. So when I hit the pencil, I go into the nav personalization features. So previously this was fixed. Your admin would decide which tabs were available and also which order. So now you have the ability to reorder things. All right, so I do a lot of chatting, then I like opportunities, and let's bring dashboards up. Okay, so as you can see, I'm easily now reordering the tabs. So I'm not removing things, I'm just changing the order, which is very similar to what you could do in the old classic. But that's all right, but it's not that wow. What's the other stuff that you can do with this then? Okay, so let's have a look at this. So if I click on opportunities, it opens up the opportunity related lists. The default there is always recently viewed. Now that's useful if I've viewed the opportunity, but if I haven't, I have to then toggle into my list view. So if I want closing this month, I have to change to it. I could use a favorite, so you can see I've already made this a favorite here. Now, the next part of the personalization that you can do around the nav bar is you can now surface that list view, which is one of the things that you can do this with, reports and actual records as well, which I'll show you in 2 seconds. You can also do, but that basically then brings that list view into its own tab. So now when I click on opportunities, as mentioned, it goes back to recently viewed, but over here, I have my list view as a new tab. So this is incredibly useful. Now, the thing to watch out for, if I was to navigate away from this app and back, that would disappear. So that's persisted for the session only. But if I really need that quite a lot, and every time I come in here, I can just persist that just by hitting the drop down there and say closing this month. So what you will notice there is the asterisk has now gone away because this is a permanent tab. Now, if I go back into my edit, my navigation items, I've now got closing this month as an option that I can drag around. Now, as I mentioned, I like opportunities to be really close to the front because I do a lot of them. Let's move that up there. I can now do that. I can also rename it as well. Okay. All right, so let's just shift that around. So that's that. Let's have a look at the other thing that you can do. So Dickerson's mobile generators. Now here I am on a record. Now I can also do the same thing with a record, right? So if you look here, I've actually brought that up as its own tab at the top. I can then, as before, I can move it around if I need to, wherever it's gone. I want to make it permanent. Sorry, let's make it permanent. I can then shift that around like so. All right. Okay, so that's that. Let's have a look at the other thing that you can now do. So notice the background there, that's the default. Previously, you only had one theme that was available. You now have the ability to personalize your org. So let's go into setup. Let's go into themes and branding. So you can now see that you've got a range of themes here. Now we're in spring, so wouldn't it be nice if that was a bit green or sea green? So I'm just going to activate that. So if I activate this new theme, you can see that the background has turned green. Now you can also create your own theme. I'm not going to go into creating my own theme, but you can personalize it to your corporate colors. You can upload background images and stuff like that. Okay, so that's very easy to do. It's one theme per org for all users. There are a few other little caveats there, but if you dive into the release notes, you'll find out more about what the limitations are of that one. Okay. Okay, so that's themes. Let's have a look at what else we've got now in spring. So let's just jump back onto the sales app. Right, now this is one of Chris's favourite features. He likes using homepage rich text components to present information. Now there is actually another component here. We just can't see it because it's dynamic now based on some value in a field somewhere within our org. So I'm just going to use Mike Gill here. So I'm just jumping up to this. That's a personalized tab that I've pinned there because I know I need to come in here. I'm going to edit it and I'm going to update my country to be United Kingdom, okay, because I'm not in the States, I'm in the UK. Let's save that, and I'm going to go back to the Home tab. Now, what do we have here? We now have a homepage component that's dynamic, that wasn't there before, as you saw, which now shows the UK bank holidays, because I'm in the UK. In case I forget what the holidays are, it's now right there in front of me. How this is configured in the edit homepage. So let me just edit this. And it loads. Okay, we can see we've got a component here, rich text. Now I've set the component visibility based on a user field, so the user country. All right, when it contains United Kingdom, show that component. All right, that's a very simple example of what you can now do. Okay, previously you could do that on pages for objects, but you couldn't do it on the home page. The other thing to mention here is you can now, in this interface, you can now get to related fields. So pretty much like you do. So let's see if there's any related fields here. Profile, yes. Similar to Process Builder and these other UIs where you're navigating through a number of records using the related links, you can now do that. Okay, so that's new in spring 18. Let's just jump back out of here. All right, what else have we got? So there's some other features. Let's have a look at actions. Let's go to United Oil. Nope, okay, in fact, I'm going to need to jump into my Spring 18 app. So in my Spring 18 app, I've enabled the utility bar. Okay, what I've also done is I've enabled the macro option. So if I come onto this account here, so macros have been slowly working their way out of where they originated, which was just in the console. They're now available in a lot more places, including custom objects. But as part of this release, you now have macros on accounts. So you can start to use these here. So I'm just going to run pre-existing macro that I've got. Okay, pops an email, does some stuff. Okay, all right, it's just a simple example, tells me the macro was applied. That's great. Okay, so let's stick with macros and things that help improve productivity. Another thing that I like that's popped up in Spring 18 is quick text. Similar to the macros, started off in the console, cases and all of that arena. You now have quick text available in more places. So to access quick text, which I'll just quickly show you where you do that, but let's just show you the shortcut. So I'm in here, I'm logging a call for this contact. I'm on a Mac, so I hit Command dot and it pops the quick text window, and I'm just going to pop that in there. If you're on a Windows machine, Control dot will pop up the quick text. Now you find quick text, if you hit on the app launcher, quick text is down here. You come into here, I'm not going to go into all the details, but you can define your quick text, decide the channel, which is where you want to have quick texts available. Okay, so let's stick with this type of stuff. Let's go to cases then. So on the case, we now have case path, which we didn't have before. Okay, so you have to first enable the case path. So let's just go into setup. Path setting, just make sure that it's there when it loads. Okay, so I pre-enabled it. Then let's go into, let's just jump back to this tab actually. So let's edit this page. So assuming that you've enabled the case path, you then drag the path component onto the page, and then you have case path available to you. So finally, it's made its way onto the case, and this is probably where it makes a lot of sense, just like it does on the opportunity. So, opportunity part, sales path, service management, case path. Sounds great. So what else do we have? So we also have some new components. So Salesforce really are popularizing the component framework type of stuff. But when I say popularizing it, what I mean is that, obviously developers have had component frameworks for as long as we can remember, but they really are bringing it to the masses. And how they're doing that? They're building out the components that you have available to build these pages. Now, the good thing is you don't require a developer. These are just components that you can add onto the page. Now, here on the right-hand side, you can see this is an example of a new component coming in Spring 18. It's called the Accordion, right? And it just now means that we can have a bunch of records or a bunch of related records. But as we jump between the different types of records, it will close and open. So if I want to see files, it closes nicely the related section. So think about the old page layouts in Classic. You could collapse those sections. This is kind of like the Lightning version of that. So that squishes down and disappears. And then if I want to go back to related, files then flattens down. So you can actually get quite clever with your whole page design. You don't necessarily need to have everything open at once. And rather than having the user open and close things, they go to what they want, which automatically closes the rest. And that is a new component. Let me just quickly, okay, so here we are in the component then. So this is the Accordion component. So you can see that I've got two sections, which I just demoed, related and files. You could add another section to it if I wanted to. If I just click that, I can then go custom, give it a name, my new section. Okay, and then I can add some things in there. So let's have a look at my new section, and let's just put, let's get rid of that one. Let's put recent items in there. So in fact, let me just jump back and rename that. We like this. All right, let's save that one. Let's jump out of here. Stay, that's saved. Let's see if we can get that going. All right, so let's have a look. So we've now got recent items, files, related list. I like that a lot. Okay, so last couple of things then. Let's have a look at a new function that we've got inside formulas and stuff and validation rules that's available to us. So let's have a look at the accounts. Let's go to United Oil again. All right, so we've got a field down here, which is a formula field, estimated renewal date. So if I just update my customer sign date, let's just put that back to 2018. All right, save that. If you have a look there, my formula field, where is it, has adjusted. Oh, maybe I didn't save that. Let's put that back to 18. Save. All right, booyah, it's updated. But how did I do that? So let's just jump into setup. Let's just jump object manager, accounts, and let's just have a look at the formula behind that. All right, estimated renewal date. So what do we have in here? We now have a new function called add months. Okay, customer sign date, that's a standard field, and I want to add 12 months onto it. I could actually put negative numbers in here as well, include this in a more complex formula. But yeah, it really does remove a lot of the complexities that you may have seen around doing date calculations. Just to give you an idea of what that could look like previously is something like this from Steve Moe. You can see there's a lot of date calculations, months going on in here. Another example here. Let's just jump this one open. There you go. So you can see things can get very, very hairy. So we now have a new function that allows us to manipulate months. Okay. Okay, so that's a nice new function. There's another function for doing some currency or extracting the currency rate. So if you're in a multi-currency org, you've got a function to access that, which you didn't have before. Now, the very last thing before we wrap this up is let's go back to the home dashboard. I'm going to jump into reports. Now, I'm very pleased to say that you can finally favorite a dashboard folder or a report folder. So that now brings that up to your favorites, okay, which I think is awesome. All right, and on that note, yeah, we have to call it a day. There's a lot more to Spring 18, but that just gives you an idea of some of the core features that most people can just take advantage of almost immediately. Have a good day. All right, bye-bye.